The first company you ever sold, or the first large amount of money, what did you do with that kind of money and how did you feel?
So looking back, I mean, different stages of my life, large amounts of money were different amounts. And when I was younger, I started a little company and it did quite well. And I sold it for what I thought was a huge amount of money at the time, about £50,000. And, I remember thinking, wow, I've made it. I think I was 19 when I got £50,000. And, to me, that was it. That's it. I've got a load of money. That's a year's plus 2 years salary at the time. And so that's it. I'm free. And I think when I realized that you still need to do something, even though I suddenly had the potential to do nothing, I went on a plane to Hong Kong and I moved to Hong Kong. And I thought what money really brings you, what I learned quite young, was money doesn't really buy you anything except experiences. That's the only thing that really matters. So I call this buying time. Right, buying time to develop yourself, buying time to experience the world. If you, I'm very anti-mortgages. I hate people getting trapped by mortgages. I mean, buying a house they think is going to make them rich. It doesn't. It often traps people in a location. It creates a monthly cost, which means they've got no choice but to pay it. And so I love the idea that you can be free financially. And I learned that quite young by accident, by making what I thought at the time was a lot of money. As I made more money, what I actually started to do, I never really wanted to take a large sum of money and put it in my bank. That did happen when I was 40, when I sold Fluid, but that was not my aim. My aim was always any amount of profit I made in my businesses, I put back into the businesses, back to compound you were just mentioning. So I remember one month, my agency made £500,000 profit. And so I was very tempted to take that money out and I could have bought a flat and rented it out. Right, and a lot of people would say that's what you should do because that's the norm, right? But Elon Musk, when he made 110 million from PayPal, he could have gone and bought half of Las Vegas probably at that time, property-wise, and be renting them out today and never have to work again in his life. But that's not the point, right? Of course, he didn't do that, and I didn't do it either. I kept putting the money back into what I loved doing. I wanted to make what I was doing bigger, stronger, faster, better, and that compound paid off over time. That's why I got a big payoff. I didn't actually, even when I did get the big payoff, really want it, to be honest. I mean, once I sold the company, it's a dream, right? And it's a headline, built a company from scratch and sold it for tens of millions. But for me, that was not really the exciting bit. The exciting bit was building the company. And in some respects, I have regret selling that company because I had to start again. And so it was something about starting again that's also liberating, but there's also an element of me that, I actually enjoyed building. And I didn't really, going forward, like what I'm building now, I'll probably never sell it. I'm building something that is a legacy product that hopefully will help people for hundreds of years to come. And so, money becomes secondary when you have a purpose, I think.
Yeah. So I'm a great believer that the benefit of money gives you choices. If you have a massive amount of money, you have a choice whether you want to work today or not. If you have a massive amount of money, you have a choice whether you go on holiday today or not. You can do whatever you want when you want. And I think when people say it's not so important, there's other more important things. Yes, they're right. There is. Floyd Mayweather said something right, and love him or not, he's one of the best boxers ever lived, and some of his philosophies are quite bang on. And they said, well, money's not everything. He said, no, but they said, money doesn't solve all your problems. He says, yes, but it solves your money problems, and that's a good place to start. And I think it is, because a lot of problems, even sometimes health, is off the back end of being stressed because maybe of the money scenario. So with this company, Fluid, and also with Hong Kong, why did you decide to set up this creative agency? What gave you the idea, and why in Hong Kong?
Well, first of all, it wasn't really an idea. I met someone very beautiful called Helen Griffiths when I went to Hong Kong after I sold my company. And she was a designer, a very talented designer. And she was telling me about how much she was getting paid to do a particular project. And I just couldn't believe how low the price was. So I said to her, I'll be your agent. This isn't right. I have people need to charge properly for their services. And I'm like, you're not charging properly. And she was a brilliant designer who didn't like talking to customers. She just wanted to do her job of designing. And so she was undercharging. So I kind of took over a little bit and then started negotiating some of her deals. And then I realized that there was a real gap in the agency world in Hong Kong. It was actually 1997. There was a handover in Hong Kong of Hong Kong back to the British, and a lot of British people left. So basically, long story short, I said to Helen, let's start a company together. What should we call it? And we came up with the name Fluid. It was nothing more than that. I just met a really talented, beautiful person who was undercharging for their services, and I felt like I could help her. and defend a price strategy. And that's what I did. And it turned into this massive company, because then we brought on lots of designers that had exactly the same problem. My business wasn't actually working for like the CNN and the Estee Lauders of this world, who are our clients. I was actually working for the designers. That's what made us a little bit different. I was there to help the designers get valued, help the creatives get valued, and give them the time to do their work. And so, but yeah, I mean, Fluid was people always think, oh, genius, you came up with this idea, genius. Fluid wasn't one of those ideas that I came up with that was genius. I came up with a few businesses since then that were created in my mind and made real. But Fluid was really just two people talking, me and Helen, solving a problem which in the end wasn't just created for brands, which they needed, but for the actual designers themselves. And maybe like the artwork we're surrounded by in this studio, at some point someone needs to defend the artist. Someone needs to represent the artist. Make people realize how valuable this stuff is that's around us. Some people don't realize that. That's what it was like in the creative space in Asia at that time. A lot of people didn't at the time appreciate a quality creative. They just said, do us a brand by tomorrow at 12, not understanding there's a process, not understanding there's a talented person behind that creation.